Hello, everybody. My name is Shlomy Ofer. Welcome to Human Caring, a digital platform that's designed to support other therapists or body-mind facilitators or any other facilitators that are helping others in their journey, in helping them with their challenges. And also, it's a platform designed to help individuals or groups that need direct help with their challenges. Today, I have a very special guest, a dear man, Swami Kashi. I've been known Swami Kashi for many years, and Swami Kashi is a man, a monk that lives usually in the Himalayas in India and spent most of his time there studying, practicing, sharing, and 6 months of the years or something like this, if I'm not wrong, spending traveling extensively around the world and sharing his passion for studying the yoga philosophy, the yogic practice, philosophy of Vedanta, and helping facilitating the journey of many, many other people. Welcome, Swami Kashi.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Swamiji, I know that that you have been facilitating many other people journey, many other yoga teachers. You help them to teach and to learn how to teach, how to transmit what they know. Can you maybe tell me a little bit of what is it for you? What does it mean to be a good facilitator? What does it take?
Well, yeah, I can answer it on many levels. Right now, what comes to mind is that usually as facilitators, therapists, teachers, or whatever, we end up wanting to save everybody, to help everybody out. And by getting into this spot, we are actually blocking the others. To my understanding, a good facilitator is not someone who is helping another person, but it is someone who creates the space for healing of another person. Because and the difference is maybe delicate, but it is very important. The difference is that when you want to help somebody, you become involved. You are on a mission and you are trying to change somebody else, which is basically not possible. You cannot change another person. A good facilitator, a good therapist is someone who is giving another person the opportunity, the space, maybe the guidance they need in order to bring the change into their lives. Because change can come only by oneself. Only I can change myself. You cannot change me. Even if you are very good, you cannot change me. But if you are very good, you can create for me the platform, the environment, the support, the guidance that I need in order to bring the change in me. And I think facilitators or guides need to get this attitude, to change the attitude that I'm Mr. So-and-so and I'm going to save you. I'm going to help you. You are miserable and you are suffering from PTSD or whatever, and I'm here to save you. This is going to be a disaster. This is leading to disaster. If, on the other hand, I recognize that I'm a human being with my limitations and my weaknesses, and you are limiting human beings and you have your own challenges, and I can meet you there. I can meet you right there, and I can see you as you are, and I can allow you to be where you are. And also, I can facilitate, I can give you the space or the environment if you want, if you care to, bring a change in your life. And that will really open up something new, which is not there otherwise.
think it was beautifully put, and from what I understand and what resonates with me is exactly that. You know, as a professional, we might think that we have knowledge and we have a method or technique, but the question of the effort that I'm doing within myself while I'm in touch with somebody else is the fundament. I mean, it's can in a meeting, if it's with a group of people, can I see that right now it's a moment where we all, as you said, human beings in the same boat, and the more I create a space to see myself and listen and kind of having a different standpoint in myself, like a standing place where I'm less identified with what's going on with me, actually more available to what's going on outside of me, and this space can invite others to discover their space. Is that correct, understood, or what do you
Yeah,
say?
you know, we are so full of ourselves, and we
Mm.
have created a story. We all have created our own story. So I am Swami Kashi. I'm a monk in India, and this is my story. And I go 6 months a year, as you said, and I help everybody, teach them, show them everything. This story is fake. It is wrong. It is so. It is so limited. It is so limited. It is so, actually, it is even wrong. It is not really what is. What is a human being on many different levels that function on all these different levels in different ways. I have my own challenges, and really what I come here to do is to get rid of this story, you know. I didn't come to treat you. I didn't come to heal you. I have come to get rid of my own story, and I do it by allowing you to get rid of your own story. You know, it is something different. When we get into these roles of I am this and I am that, and I have come to do this and I have come to do that, and you have to be. Now we are feeding on one another, but we are creating this dependency. And healing cannot take place in such a place. You know? If healing should take place is where I put my story aside and you can put your story aside, and then we can grow together. You know?
I'm very interested in hearing what your take on what kind of effort is required in order to put aside. I mean, it's not like dismissing a story. There is certain effort that maybe you can elaborate a little bit about it.
Yeah, the effort is not an effort of an action. It is an effort of release. You know, there are two movements. There is the movement of action, of doing, and then there is the movement of giving up. And this requires, I would not say an effort as much as an awareness and presence. You know, when you are completely present, you are giving up all this stuff. When you are carried away by your story and by your past and by your projection to the future, you are now putting on effort that is further entangling you. And the problem is that we, as human beings, are action-driven creatures. We always think about actions. We come to teachers, we come to facilitators or whatever and say, okay, tell me what to do, right? This is always comes to that. And sometimes we are more sophisticated. We say it in a more complicated way, but at the end of the way, we say, hey, tell me what to do. I want to do something. But this doing itself, when it is coming with all this mask, with all this story, is actually blocking. It is actually giving us a hard time. And the effort, if you want to put it this way, is not in doing. The effort is in being present. The effort is in giving up our story, giving up our mm, giving up all the baggage, you know, and this is where we have to put the effort. Now, here is the problem. Giving up is very difficult precisely because there is nothing to do. Giving up is difficult precisely because it's not about doing. And we are so action driven, and therefore, in different traditions, yogis and others have devised different actions that we can do to help us to be able to give up action. You understand what I'm saying? All this yoga practice of pranayama and meditation and asanas and whatever, and in different traditions, different practices, they are all devised ultimately to help me to come to the point that I can give up, that I can renounce. You know? Ultimately, the effort should be to get into the present. Okay? If you want to put it in this way, what I really want to do is to put the past in the past, to leave the future for the future, and be here in the present, right here and right now. And when I do that, then I'm open for all possibilities, and I give you the possibility to be present, and from that healing can come and take place. Okay, so effort is about no effort.
You're touching on a very, very important point that, and I know that slowly the modern Western science is getting interested in this division between doing and being. And, you know, we are so used to be able to measure stuff with our scientific tool that got to do with the world of doing, and being is somehow very hard for our brain that's been trained in exactly seeing time and action and movement. So for me, what you're saying is the core, because the challenge when somebody come to me and says, listen, I'm in A, it's a problem for me, I don't like it, take me to B. And for me, the whole challenge is to help him or her to see, well, let's stay in A. What does it mean to stay in A? There is no B. It's an idea, and A, it's what we have. Can I kind of become a curious watcher, just to stay there and to know when I'm already not there and I'm already in my projection and my rejection and my judgment of A. And I completely agree with you that all the kind of instruments was built through times are actually to help us, because it's so simple that we are so complicated that we are so simple that it's got complicated for us. What does it mean just to stay here with what is? And I think for me, a beginning will be to learn to bring the attention to the body, which is what's the experience of right now, with the body sensation. What would you say about that?
Yeah, definitely. Jai Krishnamurti used to talk a lot about this point that uh, our perception is that we need to reach somewhere. Like I am here, as you say, in point A, and I need to be in point B. And the gap between what is and what is supposed to be creates a conflict. How can a conflict resolve conflict? You see, something that comes out of conflict cannot resolve the conflict. So we don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to reach anywhere. We just need to learn to be present in the present moment. We need to learn how to be right here and right now. And you said that we are too simple. I think that we are too complicated. My teacher
That's
used,
what I meant.
yeah, my teacher used to say that the truth is very simple, but we are complicated. So, you know, there was one sentence that he used to say, and it is really got deep into my mind. He said, it's not easy to be a simple person. It's not easy to be a simple person. In our culture, when you say about a person that is simple, it either means that he is very poor, he doesn't have money, or it means that he's stupid. He's not very intelligent, right? When you say, oh, this guy is very simple guy, that means he doesn't have money and he's stupid. But actually, simplicity is altogether different. Simplicity is not having all this story about ourselves. Simplicity means to be right here and right now, without all the baggage that is coming with it. To put aside all this idea of I'm a Swami, I'm a 48 years old guy, all this story to put aside and just be with what is. This is simplicity. And this is where all healing starts. Now, you were saying about coming back to the physical body, and it is very powerful because the physical body is here, is right here. And being able to recognize it and feel what is going on right now is a technique of coming back to the present. At the same time, we have to remember that our real problem is never with the physical body, is always with the mind. Even if I have a great illness in the body, which is a big difficulty always, we know that when the body is sick, everything becomes difficult. But suffering is always in the mind. Ultimately, our main trouble is here in the mind, is in this little box, and we have to direct our understanding towards that. We have to learn our own mind, how the mind works, how things function, and I think we should do it. So yeah, physical body is a great tool, and we coming back to the sensations and what is going on is a great practice. It is one practice. You can come to the breath, you can come to your thoughts, you can come to your mantra, you can come to so many things. These are different tools that are helping us to get somehow into the present moment.
But I think for me, what's important with coming back to the body, there is different kind of what we gain out of it. But as you said, if our problem is here, that I need to begin to see, begin to in a way be able to watch the mechanicality, the way it works. My mind, the box, the thought, the association, the judgment, the comparison, and how it's connected actually to the body. Because as you said beautifully, the problem is not the body. It can take care of itself, the body, but there is something else that kind of increases the suffering and the emotions, how everything is kind of creating a drama inside of me. And in order to learn how to be a spectator, and it seems to me that the advantage of going to start working with the body, it's very concrete, and we are so used to be captured by our thought that it's hard for us to know when we can watch it. And then the same with emotion, what it means to the difference between experiencing emotion and seeing a wave of emotion. And I remember you once used in a metaphor that I also used it very often about, just recognizing when we go to a theater or movie, just to see that there is a screen and there is a movement on it, and it's a drama that kind of we believe it. When it's scary, we get afraid. When it's funny, we laugh. But it just, it's a play of light, and then to begin to realize that there is a screen and I am watching it in a way. It's that for me it was very helpful metaphor. Can you tell something about that?
Yeah, well, everything you say is in agreement to what I feel. This idea of being a witness or being an observer, I find it to be very deep. And I see through many years of talking about it with people that for many people it is very difficult to get to this point. We have a very strong identification with our mind and body. Well, basically, we are identified with the body and the mind, thinking this is who we are, which is not the case. I am not this body and I am not this mind. I am actually the consciousness, the awareness, which is the knower of the body and the mind. But there is a very strong identification that is causing me to think that I am the body. And because I think I'm the body, the problems of the body become my problems. And then I have a very strong identification with the mind. And because of my identification with the mind, the problems of the mind become my problems. Whereas in reality, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I'm the witnessing consciousness, which is the knower of the body and the mind. And the ability to disconnect, to just take a step back and become an observer of what is going on is very releasing. But for many people, it is very challenging. It is not easy to take this step back. Uh, uh, Basically, the analogy of the movie theater is very useful because when I go and sit and watch a movie in the theater, I'm the observer. I'm not participating in the movie, right? I'm just sitting and watching. Now, the movie is two-dimensional, right? When you go to the movie theater, it is two-dimensional. And at that time, we are using two senses, the sense of sight and the sense of hearing, right? I like to think about what we call reality also as a movie. I say this is a three-dimensional, five-sensorial movie. Okay, when you sit in the theater, it is a two-dimensional, two-sensorial movie. Try to think about what you call reality. This is also kind of a movie. And this movie, it is five sensorial. All the five senses are employed. And it is three-dimensional. It is all directions. And there is nothing outside of that experience. Now, if I'm able to relate to what we call reality in this way, then who am I? I'm just the observer, the spectator. I'm the guy sitting in this theater and watching this movie which is unfolding. This is, I find, a way that it is very practical for people who want to start to get this idea. I'm just an observer. I'm the knower. And all this drama can affect me or cannot affect me. It is my choice. When I sit in the movie theater, I actually do this exercise. I watch the movie, I enjoy what is going on, the drama, but every now and then while watching the movie, I kind of change my perception. Instead of seeing the drama and forgetting the screen, for a moment, I look through the drama and I recognize the screen. You understand? Nothing have changed in my visual cortex. Everything is happening the same. But now, instead of looking at the drama, seeing the kiss between the hero and the heroine, I'm now seeing the background, which is the screen on which everything is projected. Now I can play back and forth between these two visions, seeing the drama, seeing the screen, seeing the drama, seeing the screen. When I see the drama, I'm carried away. Oh, it's so beautiful. And I'm carrying, my emotions are arising. That's why actually we go to the movie, right? We don't go to the movie to watch a screen. We go to the movie for the drama that is exciting our emotions. In life, in the same way, we are caught up in the drama. We are so caught up in the drama, but it can be very helpful sometimes to recognize the screen. Now, what is the screen of this five sensorial three-dimensional movie, right? When you go to the theater, you know it is the canvas. It is that white stuff. When the light turns on after the movie, you see the screen very clearly, you know it. Now, what is the screen upon which this five sensorial three-dimensional movie is displayed? The screen is my own awareness, consciousness itself. Now, of course, in this setting, we cannot develop this too much, but try to grasp this idea. It is consciousness itself that manifesting as all this. You know, then we have another analogy that is very useful in this case, and this is the experience of dream. In dream also, it is my own mind which is projecting all the dream world. As long as I am in the dream, I'm completely taken away by it, right? I'm completely identifying with the dream. I think that the cup of coffee in my dream is real. I think it is external to me. I think it is different from me. But as soon as I wake up, I realize that this cup of coffee was just the same mind that projected me in the dream, projected this cup of coffee. It is the same thing. There is no such a distance. There is no such a difference, you know? In the same way, what we call reality, everything that I experience as external and different and separate from me is not like that. I am now caught up in a dream. I'm now caught up in a dream that we call reality. I have to wake up from it. And waking up is realizing that which is all made of, and this is consciousness, pure awareness.
It's so amazing the way, sorry, you put it out. And I think it has so much value only to hear the words that might, just trigger the curiosity of people to hear, because, but words are just words. And now I think a facilitator, if we're coming back to it, is kind of opportunity to have space, as you say, for an experience of having an alternative way to be within oneself, that one discover the possibility not to be completely identified or emerge. And while you taste it, you know that it's different from the usual way you are experiencing your emotions or whatever mental drama you experience. And you know also that it gives you immediate relief. It's a different taste. And I think, well, when people begin to experience that, then start a whole process of helping them to understand a little bit what's going on, and let them having some, like I said, some tools that they will continue to find out how can I create this distance, and then they begin to see patterns, and then from this small awakening, which is event, then there is a process that can have a momentum. And for me, it's, and other tradition talks a lot about the concept of to remember myself. And I think once we have the taste and the understanding of the possibility, the potential to be the invisible man, the silent witness, and what it makes, how it changed the way I see myself in reality, then we keep forgetting it again. And it's and that's part of it, but the opportunity and the effort. And as you said, it's not a struggling, it's kind of a letting go. It's very different. It's a being process of just remember, and with the time, this remembering is enough to let go of what you were a moment ago occupied with. And this is very, very precious. And I think slowly for me, with my work with people, if it's with trauma and with other kind of diagnoses, it's have huge values, because if we take something like flashback, like trauma, that something that happened in the past is so vivid and the mental film is so alive right now that you actually completely lose contact with what's going on, because you're emerged and identified with a war movie. And to be able to understand what's going on and not to be captured by it, even though it's unpleasant, slowly to be able to remember the possibility to watch, is taking the edge out of it. But as you said, it's a process, and I think it depends on the authenticity of the facilitators to bring this process to others. So authenticity, isn't it the key there?
Yeah. Now, sometimes people may think that suppose I'm recognizing that I'm just the observer and not the participator. Suppose I recognize this ability to become a witness instead of a participator. People think that that will induce what do you say, apathy or carelessness. They say, oh, if I recognize that it is just a movie, then why should I help anybody? Right? But this is a very misconception. It is a wrong understanding, because when I actually recognize that I am the witness is that consciousness, which is the screen. Okay? Actually, in my true nature, I'm the observer. I'm also the screen upon which everything is displayed. And in such a case, the other person which is suffering is not really other. Is not really different and separate from me. You know, when we take back this position of the witness, we are not creating a boundary between me and the other person. We are actually breaking the boundary, because I recognize that the other is a projection of my own self. There is no other. There is no other here. It is my own self. And my own desire for happiness is manifesting in my compassion to another person. And therefore, it is very important to understand this point, that the ability to disconnect from the situation and see it as a drama and see myself as the background, see myself as the consciousness, the awareness, is actually inducing compassion and right action. And it brings love. It brings love. And therefore, the greatest thing that you can do for another person is not to identify with your role, not to identify with your story, just be there as it is. Just recognize what is opening up, and it will manifest in the form of compassion and love.
I think it's when you said it, then I suddenly remember this sentence that Swami Shivananda says, unity in diversity. And I think the action of kind of letting go of me, of the usual I there, and the space that is being open, it's kind of letting something else comes in. And the something else that, I can call it different names. In reality, I don't know, but this is the power of experience, where I know when I am with this space and the stillness, that, as you said, some kind of understanding and compassion can penetrate through this body, through this servant, and actually manifest in the world of drama out there, and qualities of creativity, of listening, of compassion, and it belongs to another, to the space there, that only if I'm kind of more and more tuned and attentive to it, then I can actually be a participant in the drama world as being a vessel of letting him come in. Otherwise, it cannot go through to the drama world. So, and I think it's important what you said, in order to understand that it's not that one level is better than other. The drama world is something negative, and we shouldn't kind of participate in it. Yes, it's part of my reality. We are very complicated and have different levels, but I think that in order to kind of see that we have a potential to be a full human being in a way, and the capacity that embrace everything in it, with our stories, with the way we got formed through life, and then bringing something else. But that's really something need to be evoked there in order to keep on coming back to it when it's so noisy out there. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, totally. I'm right there with you, and I think we are talking about the same thing, definitely.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, this is the beauty, right? We all come from different walks of life, from different traditions, from different paths, and we recognize the truth everywhere, because the truth is the truth, and the truth, as you said, is beyond words. Words are actually limited. Actually, every words we use is ultimately putting boundaries and limitations, whereas truth must transcend words, must transcend all these limitations and boundaries. Nevertheless, words are the tools we have. This is the only way we can sit here, in the Hindu tradition. The ultimate guru or the ultimate teacher, Dakshinamurti, is teaching through silence. He's just sitting with Dhyana Mudra, and this is how he is teaching. And he has 4 students, and they are enlightened just by silence. That signifies that truth is beyond words. You cannot express the truth with words. At the same time, if we will just sit here and sit quiet and say nothing, it will not really help anybody else. Words are the tools, limited as they are the tools that we have at hand, and we have to use them wisely. We have to use them and then throw them away. Like when you make a fire, you use a stick in order to drive into the fire all the other sticks, and then by the end, you throw this stick also into the fire. The same way, we know the limitations of words. We use them in order to help us. Ultimately, we have to throw them away and transcend. We have to go to something which is more true, which is deeper than words, which transcends words. But the way to do it is through words. This is what we are doing. right here.
That's beautiful. And I think, again, if we come back to how to help other facilitators, it's kind of the notion of, yes, we need to talk the talk, right? But unless it's being fused with the walk, actually to make an effort, whatever that means to the individual, in order to kind of have an authentic experiential knowledge, understanding of it. And it's interesting how the more that is, the more the words kind of comes to one, and then one have also the understanding not to cling to it. But it's a challenge there all the time as a facilitator.
Yeah, definitely. I know I like to keep things very practical. You know, we at the end of the day, we are here in order to help somehow facilitators to help people who have issues. And our discussion so far is mostly philosophical, right? We were talking philosophy. My feeling is that philosophy, not every philosophy, but at least this philosophy is the most practical subject. Whatever we were talking now is about our vision, about our perception of reality. And if I teach you a technique, it can help you only so far. It can give you some help. If I teach you something nice, some saying, you can use it. It can be of some use to you. If I give you food, you will get some benefit for some time. But if I'm able to change your perception of reality, everything changes. Is it not? It will affect every minute, everything within your life will be affected if your perception of reality changes. And therefore, this philosophy is so important because ultimately it is changing the way we are seeing the world. It is just when we look around, we see the world in a different way, and therefore our actions will be different. And therefore it is so valuable, it is so practical. It is philosophy, but it is the most practical thing because it is changing ourselves. It is changing our perception of reality.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I'm thinking, Swamiji, that we gave a lot of food for thoughts and for hopefully also for emotions for people here that listening. Is there anything else that you think that you would like to use this platform to share, to tell about your own project in India or other things?
No, no. I would just leave it here. I think that it is good we took one thing and we kind of open it up and gave some food for thought to whoever is interested. Of course, there are many ways we can go and discuss other things. I would like to keep one strong impression in one direction, and maybe in future we can have another talk and talk about other aspects. There are many important things that I think facilitators need to know how the mind works, and yogic philosophy has a very interesting take on this. We have to understand how our subconscious mind works. What is the language that our subconscious mind speaks in order to know how to speak to it? Because our subconscious mind is playing a very big role in whatever is happening here, right? These are all very important points, but I think we will leave it for next time.
One step at a time, and I will take your word on that. I would love to meet with you again in this virtual cyberspace where we can hopefully can reach many people that they have an interest and in any way if it can help somebody, that's a blessing. So thank you so much for your time and
thank
the
you very
wisdom.
much, Shlomy, and thank everybody for joining us.
Yes, yes, yes. So until next time, take care. Goodbye.
All the best.